Hello and welcome to a new series I'll be making, a Clash Royale beginner's guide. This video will be the introduction to the series, as well as the basic game mechanics, so stick along if you're interested in learning how to properly play this game. You get to create a deck with 8 cards, which you will use to battle in the arena. Each card has a cost and a purpose. Once you go into a battle, you'll have the option to play 4 cards that are in your deck. The cards will cycle through your deck, which means you'll be able to play the same cards more than once in a game. This is called a starting hand, and it will always be random. Your goal is to get more crowns, in other words towers, than your opponent. If you're under 4,000 trophies, you will have 4 minutes to do this. In the first 2 minutes of the game, you'll get 1 elixir every 2.8 seconds. Then there'll be a minute of double elixir, which means you will get 2 elixir every 2.8 seconds. If by the 3-minute mark you have more crowns than your opponent, you will win. If you and your opponent has the same amount of crowns, the game will go on in overtime for 1 minute. If overtime runs out and nobody got a crown, the game will be tied and nobody gets or loses anything. If you get a crown in overtime, you will win and gain about 30 trophies. If you lose, you won't lose a lot since you are right now in a very low arena. Alright, now that we're done with the boring part, let's get into the 13 cards that are unlocked in training camp. I'll do this in a convenient order so you'll know what you're hearing. Fireball at 4 elixir is used to kill or damage medium health cards. This card is very hard to use as a beginner, which is why I'm going to tell you what cards you can and cannot fireball. Keep in mind that these are just guidelines. There are situations where my guidelines don't count. A giant at 5 elixir is used to soak up a bunch of damage so the support troops behind it can stay alive. The giant is a win condition and will always target buildings. Keep in mind I said buildings, not towers. This card should never be fireballed because it has a ton of health. Archers at 3 elixir are used as anti-air and also to support tanks like giants. They spawn in pairs of 2. This card can be fireballed if you hit the tower or other cards. A musketeer at 4 elixir is like the archers but stronger and has a little more range. This card can be fireballed if you hit the tower or other cards. A witch at 5 elixir is a support troop that spawns 3 skeletons every 5 seconds. This card can be fireballed if you hit the tower or other cards. A knight at 3 elixir has a lot of health and decent damage, and it's used to stop things like a musketeer. This card should only be fireballed if you hit more cards. A mini P.E.K.K.A at 4 elixir deals a lot of damage with a decent amount of health. Use this to stop giants. This card can be fireballed if you hit the tower or other cards. A prince at 5 elixir is a high health, high damage card. After it walks for a while, it charges and deals double the damage. This card should almost never be fireballed. A skeleton army at 3 elixir spawns 15 skeletons with extremely low health and high damage. Together, they can take down almost anything that does not have splash damage. This card can be fireballed as a last resort. Minions at 3 elixir are used as high damage, low health flying troops. They are spawned in pairs of 3, and this card can be fireballed if you hit the tower or other cards. A baby dragon has a decent amount of health and deals medium splash damage. Use it to stop cards that are close to each other, like skeleton army, minions, or a combination of musketeer and archer. This card can be fireballed if you hit the tower or other cards. Arrows at 3 elixir are used to kill swarm cards like skeleton army or minions. An archetype in this game is like a deck category. In training camp, for example, the most viable archetypes are giant beatdown and control. Beatdown means that you put a tank in the back and stack up support troops behind it. Control means you defend and translate defense into offense. All decks have some control in it, but some more than others. When giant is used by good players, for example, it becomes more control-y. Let's say they have a knight and it's on its way to your tower. If you place your knight on top, it will survive since the prince's tower is shooting on the enemy's knight. That's a free knight with a decent amount of health that you can put archers behind to make it a threat. In the next video, I'll teach you how to actually play the archetypes. See you there.